Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Senator Kennedy.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Secretary, I've read that police officers have encounters every year with about 60 million Americans. And in 10 million of those encounters, the person who has an encounter with the cop is arrested. And in 2 million of those encounters, the police officer either has to use force or threaten to use force. Now, every case is different and needs to be investigated when violence is, or when force is used or threatened to be used. We had a very unfortunate event happen, as you know, in Columbus, Ohio, last month. A police officer who happens to be white shot a young woman who happened to be an African American as she, at least according to the video, was about to stab another young woman who happened to be African American. All we had at the time was this video. We had nothing else. Nothing else. And I think it's still being investigated. Put this up for me right quick. We had an NBA, a National Basketball Association athlete, immediately after this happened, put out an Instagram post identifying the police officer. Here's his face. And this is what the NBA player said: "You're next." Do you think that contributes to domestic violence in America?
Senator, I can't comment on a particular case that is under investigation, nor can I comment on a case when I don't know all of the facts, and I hope you do understand that. I served 12 years as a federal prosecutor.
Yes, sir.
And I understand.
Well, let me put it another way. I understand you.
Please, if you would frame it more generally, perhaps.
Sure. Would you have sent out an Instagram like this?
Senator, I think you know the answer to that question.
No? Is the answer no?
That is correct, and I'd like to, if I can, amplify something very important that my colleague, the Attorney General, articulated.
Okay, before you do, my time is so limited, and I want to ask the General a question because I'm going to run out of time, and then if it's okay, Mr. Secretary, I'll come back to you.
I'd welcome that.
Thank you, sir. General, I appreciate all your efforts. I think it's fair to say that Chicago has become, unfortunately, the world's largest outdoor shooting range. What's the Department of Justice doing to help remedy this problem in Chicago?
Well, violent crime has been a priority of the Justice Department since I first entered the department. Since I was last in the department, that may have been the first time the department actually created an anti-violent crime initiative, which has now, over the years, had different names. We are going to put a large amount of money into grants with respect to violent crimes, gang violence, BJA, Bureau of Justice Assistance grants. We spend $8.6 billion in FY21 on violent crime, both on prevention.
But what about Chicago?
Yeah, on the specifics of Chicago, I don't know, but we will provide the resources that the city needs to assist it in its efforts against violent crime. I don't know specifically, although having been born and raised in Chicago, I'm at least as concerned as you are about violent crime in that city.
Yeah, so you're giving them money?
We're giving them money, and we have law enforcement. We have a United States Attorney's Office, we have the FBI, we have the DEA, we have the ATF, we have the U.S. Marshals. All are focused on many different areas, but one of which is violent crime, and in particular, gang violence.
Okay. Let me get back to the Secretary. I think he had something he wanted
Oh, thank you so much for the opportunity.
Yes, sir.
We take great pride in the fact that as a department, we have statutorily created offices of privacy and civil rights and civil liberties. And it is a very, very important constitutionally, as a matter of constitutional law, that we both protect and safeguard individuals' right of speech and right of assembly, yet we address with all our law enforcement capabilities those who really predicate acts of violence on false narratives and dangerous ideologies. And it's the acts of violence that we are focused upon. But I wanted to draw a clear line, which is not always easy to draw, but we're very focused on it because it speaks to the principles and values that guide everything that we do.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much. And Senator Murphy.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good to see you.